What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of maybe I shouldn't have gotten my last contract exclusively in cryptocurrency, but it's okay because NBA organizations are still willing to pay me United States dollars. As always, I am your host, Zach Cronin, and today we're going to be talking about Spencer Dinwiddie, formerly of the Brooklyn Nets, formerly of the Toronto Raptors. He is now back in his hometown of Los Angeles after signing with the Los Angeles Lakers. This is a signing that I really think the Lakers are going to benefit from, and it seems that they are benefiting from it already. Spence made his Lakers debut on Tuesday night against the Detroit Pistons, finished with just 6 points, however, added 7 rebounds in just about 30 minutes. He is very clearly going to be a huge piece of this lineup going forward, and I think he brings exactly what the Lakers need: a tertiary facilitator and playmaker. As we know, this Lakers offense is much improved over the last couple of weeks, playing through LeBron James, D'Angelo Russell, who is playing at a different level right now, Austin Reeves, Anthony Davis, of course. The Lakers thrive when the ball is in the hands of LeBron and Russell, but they are really the only two primary facilitators for that team, which is fine at the beginning of the game and at the end of the game. But there's that weird gap in the middle where they don't have anyone they can rely on consistently. Austin Reeves is a phenomenal player. He is not a playmaker. Spencer Dinwiddie is exactly the type of player that the Lakers needed. He can run with the second unit. He can run with the starters. He has proven himself playing alongside superstars like Kevin Durant, even though that was only for a short time, Kyrie Irving, Luka Doncic. He was also, throughout his 2 tenures with the Brooklyn Nets, a focal point of the offense at times. This guy is just a very versatile floor general. On top of that, he's extremely tenured. He's 30. He's been in the NBA for a decade. He's got a great assist to turnover ratio. This is a guy who only a couple seasons ago with the Dallas Mavericks averaged 9 assists per game, playing next to Luka Doncic. He is exactly what the Lakers need, and they don't need him to be a high volume scorer, even though you can get that at sometimes with Dinwiddie. His efficiency kind of tends to be all over the place, but again, I don't think that's what the Lakers brought him in for. They have enough scoring between their big three plus Austin Reeves. Although I think that Dinwiddie's primary benefit is going to be playing not alongside LeBron and D'Lo, as we saw in the Lakers game against the Detroit Pistons, and we're going to dive into a little bit of film here in a little bit. His presence on the floor when LeBron is there, when D'Angelo Russell is there, is a dynamic that the Lakers did not have at any other point this season, except for maybe when you're playing through Anthony Davis in the post. It allows D'Angelo Russell to play off the ball and operate as a spot-up shooter. It allows LeBron James to play off the ball, operate as a spot-up shooter, a slasher, however he feels he needs to score. And freeing up those two guys, they're your two best three-point shooters, I believe, statistically at the time. They're both shooting around like 38, 39%. That is a huge dynamic, and it worked exceptionally well against the Pistons. Now, there is an asterisk there. On a few of these plays, you're going to see these options will not be open against teams like the Clippers, the Nuggets, the Thunder, but it's largely the first option. You can get beyond that when you have a good facilitator, a guy like Spencer Dinwiddie. You can get to your second and third option and force the defense to react to what you're doing. We're going to get into a little bit of some nerdy shit later. I'm going to break out some numbers for you, but for right now, I just want to go ahead and I want to walk through some of the plays that this guy made. Take a look at this lineup right here. Let's wait for them to get set. We have Taurean Prince, Christian Wood, Spencer Dinwiddie, Anthony Davis, and Austin Reeves. These are key minutes for the Los Angeles Lakers. No LeBron, no D'Angelo Russell. Who is going to initiate the offense? It is now going to be Spencer Dinwiddie, something that he is damn good at. Operating in the pick and roll as he's about to right here. It is going to force Evan Fournier, and I want to say this is Asar Thompson. It's going to force both of them to guard Spencer Dinwiddie. They can't just sag off whoever the primary ball handler was going to be, because they have to respect his ability to facilitate, but also his ability to get his shot off. Because even though he has been inconsistent, this is still a guy that can hit an open three. And more importantly, this is a guy who can put the ball on the deck, collapse the defense, get into the paint, kick, draw free throws, whatever. We have Anthony Davis trailing here. And Christian Wood, now keep in mind, this is like piss-ass dog shit defense by the Pistons, but these plays have to be converted when they're open. You have two guys playing on Spence a little late on this recovery. This might actually be Troy Brown. I apologize. I don't know who is who right here. Also, Spencer Dinwiddie's size, being 6'6", 6'5", 6'6", allows him to see over the defense and make this play. It's an easy pass, little awry, but sometimes you got to throw those goofy passes to avoid it getting picked off by the defense. Of course, results in an and one. This is just playing basketball. Rui Hachimura gets doubled. You need to help your man. You got to slide to the elbow extended, to the wing, to the corner. Spencer does that. Just good high IQ basketball. Finds the open man. Anthony Davis trailing at the last second frees up Austin Reeves for this shot because Jalen Duren, what is he going to do? He doesn't know what to do here because it is a man down. They're playing 3-on-2 on the perimeter. So he goes with AD. Just that little hesitation allows Austin Reeves to get that shot off. Again, take a peek at this lineup. Russell operating off the ball. Hachimura in the corner. Austin Reeves, Anthony Davis, Spencer Dinwiddie. We are going to see a lot of this lineup throughout the game. This lineup has a lot of size. It's got a spectacular amount of shooting between Reeves, between Russell. You have Anthony Davis, who is Anthony Davis. Hachimura, who was getting a lot of touches in the post here throughout this game. So Cade stops Dinwiddie. Dinwiddie plays this pick and roll beautifully. Runs Cade right into Anthony Davis. Good screen. Good use of the screen. Now, it's going to be not that smart of a decision for Spence to drive here. So what does he do? Stops. Kicks to Russell. This is an open shot. Asar Thompson is way too far off, especially with D'Angelo Russell, how he's feeling himself over these last couple of weeks. This is making the simple play. This is a simple play, especially for a guy like Spencer Dinwiddie, but not every team has somebody off their bench who can do this. Ultimately, having a player like that is what separates the contending teams from the non-contending teams. Not that I think the Lakers are a contender now because of Spencer Dinwiddie, but he makes their chances of making noise in the playoffs a little bit better. I still don't think that they're good enough to beat Denver, to beat probably Denver. The Clippers are going to be a nightmare for them with their size on the wing. However, those series are now going to be competitive because it forces the defense Spencer Dinwiddie does to adjust their game plan. So Spence and D'Lo playing a little bit of a two-man game right here. How are they going to play this? Is it going to be a dribble handoff? Is it going to be a slip? Is D'Lo going to pull it out, wave off, Spence go one-on-one? There is a variety of things that can unfold here, and they're enhanced by Dinwiddie as a shot creator and a penetrator. Both Thompson and Ivy don't really know what's going to happen here. Ivy is hedging a little bit on this screen because, the Lakers are playing a little bit by half court. Maybe you can force them into a backcourt violation. Thompson overplays the screen, which allows D'Lo to rip through and then ultimately get into the paint, go into his strong side, and he finishes a very difficult floater. This is a tough shot by D'Angelo Russell. You're not going to get this overplay if you don't respect whoever this other ball handler is. Like if you have Taurean Prince, for example, coming up and initiating this action, I don't think the Pistons guard it as intensely because Taurean Prince is a good role player for the Lakers, but he's not in the same tier as a playmaker as Spencer Dinwiddie. And that's what forces Asar Thompson to overplay. It's some of that also. Some of it, again, is youth. I don't think a team like the Clippers gives up this kind of play. However, they may not give up the first option, but D'Lo could still get into the paint. He could still get back to the three-point line and force the defense to scramble. Maybe they fake the dribble handoff. Whoever is guarding D'Angelo Russell, will say Kawhi Leonard, stops his initial move, but then they run back into a pick and roll with Anthony Davis. There are just so many more options now that the Lakers have that they didn't before this trade deadline. I mentioned before we're going to get into some nerdy shit when it comes to the Lakers and their numbers. One thing I'm going to touch on later is the Lakers are, I think, heading into yesterday, or heading into this game against Detroit, they were tied for last in the league in drives per game at like 38 or 39 or whatever. The acquisition of Spencer Dinwiddie gives them a guy who averages 9 drives per game in 30 minutes. Before he played this game, he was second on the Lakers in drives per game behind only LeBron. This is a dynamic that they don't have with D'Angelo Russell. Not because D'Angelo Russell can't get into the paint, but he is not a downhill runner like Spencer Dinwiddie is. He is more of a crafty ball handler, a guy who likes to play at the three-point line, play in the mid-range, work to try to get all these little floaters and fadeaways. It's two different types of scoring guard. It also helps that Spencer Dinwiddie has a bit more athleticism than D'Angelo Russell does. D'Angelo Russell is more reliant on his ball handling to get into the paint, whereas Spence can just put the ball on the deck and get past his man as he does here. So he gets one dribble, sees the help come over, and already he knows this ball is going to Taurean Prince. Look at how far off Evan Fournier is playing. Spence, while he's sizing up right here, he's seeing how the defense reacts to this. And you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Pistons watching him. He sees this. He knows if he gets past his man, as long as Taurean Prince does not move, this shot is going to be open. Potentially even LeBron as well. Fournier takes 2 steps. Like, this is perfect. This is a perfect driving kick, and he's not even in the paint. If he does get into the paint, which is largely unlikely because you have 3 Pistons right here, you have the LeBron train heading to dunk station. And also the pass itself is perfect, right in Prince's shooting pocket. This is a shooting practice 3. This is a much-needed dynamic for the Lakers. Maybe not for this lineup because this is a LeBron, D'Lo, Spence lineup, but they can get these kinds of shots, even if it's not LeBron, if it's Anthony Davis, even if it's not D'Lo, and it's Max Christie or Rui Hachimura. These plays are going to be open, even against good teams. I don't think if you're going up against a more disciplined team like OKC or Minnesota, they're not going to cheat off. We'll say Anthony Edwards is playing Taurean Prince or Jaden McDaniels or somebody like that, Naz Reid. I don't think they're going to cheat over as much, but they will have to help at some point, and then that shot will be open. Just like how I said on the previous play, if Detroit adjusts and doesn't cheat over to help, you will have the cuts when they are there. Dinwiddie is once again playing one-on-one this time. Clear mismatch guarded by James Wiseman. Wiseman is giving him his left hand, which is fine because there is some congestion here. So Spence, he's once again surveying. The last time he drove and kicked, it was because the defense was fixated on him. There is still attention being diverted his way, but the Pistons are doing a better job of seeing their man on the ball, at least these guys on the weak side over here. So he beats Wiseman, attracts 2 defenders. He knows that somebody is going to be cutting. Even though he's only been with the Lakers for a couple of days or whatever it was, just understanding the fundamentals of basketball and passing allow him to know that on a good team with good coaching, and especially a team that has LeBron James on it, he knows that when he gets into here, there will be somebody cutting. There will be somebody cutting. There will be an outlet. It's just he has to see it. He knows from observing, in all likelihood, the cut is going to come from the wing. You're not cutting from the corner. That's a low percentage pass. And Austin Reeves is playing way too far off the three-point line to even think about cutting. This man has to run a marathon to get to the basket. So once Dinwiddie beats Wiseman, the help comes over from Troy Brown Jr. You have Max Lewis here in the corner. You have Jalen Hood-Schifino on the cut. This guy right here is caught in no man's land. If he takes away the corner, it's a layup. If he takes away the layup, it's a kick to the 3. Situation and score do matter. In instances like this, you can't see it because of the webcam, but there is 1 minute and 35 seconds left in the 4th quarter, and the Pistons are down 17. Ultimately, it doesn't fucking matter what this guy does. He could lay down. It's not impacting the game in any meaningful way. However, it is about building fundamentals and basketball IQ, stuff like that, especially with the Pistons, who are a very young team. Dinwiddie has to read this defender, and whatever this defender does dictates where the ball goes. The defender slides down to take away the pass to the corner. Jalen Hood-Schifino slides in. Easy dunk. Let's watch it back again. Full speed. He gets the step. Double comes. Easy pitch and catch. This is the kind of play that will be there against the best of defensive teams. It won't be there all the time. When it is eventually there, you're going to need someone who can score on these kinds of possessions. This is not credited to Spencer Dinwiddie as an assist because it was a hockey assist from him. However, the D'Lo, LeBron, Dinwiddie lineup, I think, is going to be one of the most lethal combinations on the Lakers, especially when they're forced to play small. I think of, again, the Golden State Warriors, who can play small and play small ball very effectively. You don't give up any size in this instance. Also, keep in mind that if you do decide to play this lineup, you can swap out Jackson Hayes with Anthony Davis, and you still have all of this scoring, you have all of this shooting. There is no compromise in any regard. And Spence doesn't have to just sit in the corner as a low percentage shooter. He can initiate the offense. So he gets doubled right here, soft double team, very soft double team, spins, kicks it out to LeBron, who already knows that D'Angelo Russell is open. If this pass is crisp, if this pass is better, this is the most wide open jump shot of D'Angelo Russell's career. He looks off Evan Fournier to Taurean Prince. I don't think that anyone can overstate just how much he impacts this team. And I'm sure that there are a bunch of more plays like that. I circled this game on League Pass last night. I watched the first half of this game over Suns Kings, even though that on paper is a better viewing experience. I also keep in mind I didn't watch the second half because I live on the East Coast and I fell asleep. But we're gonna nerd out for a little bit right now. I already touched on this. I touched on this before. The Lakers drives tied for last heading into this game. They were, however, second in point percentage, which means percentage of points scored on their drives. But they were in the bottom third of their assist percentage because they don't really have anybody besides LeBron who can get into the paint and kick effectively. Anthony Davis is not really frequently taking the ball from the perimeter and driving it to the cup. Austin Reeves can do that, but his playmaking does not compare to that of Spencer Dinwiddie. D'Angelo Russell is their second best option in that regard, but again, he isn't the deep drive threat that Spencer Dinwiddie is. I also mentioned Spencer's care of the basketball, his high passing IQ. He has a remarkably low turnover rate on drives at just 4.1%, and he's ninth in assist percentage on drives among players who have averaged 30 minutes per game. There is also a tangible difference in three-point shooting when he's on the court. With the Nets this season, they shot 38.1% with Spencer on the court. When he was off, 34.5. That is almost a 4 percentage point difference. That is huge. And again, Spence is not the most accurate three-point shooter. It is the respect that he has garnered amongst NBA players for his ability to get into the paint. There is also a very similar effect with D'Angelo Russell on the Lakers. When D'Lo was on the floor, the Lakers shoot 37.7%, and when he is off, they shoot 35.5%. They now have this same effect whether D'Angelo Russell is on the court or not. And keep in mind, the Lakers are an average three-point shooting team, but they have guys who can shoot. Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, Max Christie, LeBron, D'Angelo Russell. They have guys who will benefit regardless of whether they play alongside Spencer or D'Angelo Russell. And now you have guys who may not see that much time alongside D'Lo now getting it with Spence and seeing their percentages increase. Do I think it's going to be 4 percentage points? I don't. I think it's more likely someone goes from like 36 to 37.5. But still, a 1 percentage point difference on threes over the span of half a season and into the playoffs is huge. The last point I want to close out with it is the Lakers offense. Obviously, there is a dip. There is a huge dip when LeBron, AD, and D'Lo are not on the court. The Lakers have an offensive rating of around 108 for this season when those guys are off the court. That's not together, that's individually. So one of them sitting impacts the offense by like 7 points per 100 possessions. Like LeBron, for example, his offensive rating, the Lakers' offensive rating when LeBron's on the court is 115. When he's off, it's like 108.1 or something like that. Spence may not be able to give them those 7 points back, but can give them 3, 4, maybe even 5 points per 100 possessions and make that net rating just that much smaller. If last night's game is anything to go off of, Spence had an offensive rating of 112.7. Not world beating, not breathtaking, especially when you see LeBron, AD around 120. Austin Reeves was at 123.9. But it's not about Spence being the guy for this Lakers team. It's about him helping to mitigate the fall off when one of these guys needs to sit. And they are going to need to sit throughout the second half of the season. But pre-Spence, there wouldn't have been as much time because the Lakers are only 3 games above 500. I think they have a difficult schedule coming up. I'm sure they do. They play in the Western Conference. That conference is a fucking gauntlet. But it just affords LeBron and AD more rest time for when they do get to the playoffs, because AD is playing about 35 minutes per game this year. I think LeBron is somewhere around that as well. And keep in mind, LeBron is no spring chicken. They're both averaging about 35 minutes per game, which is a lot for LeBron, who's 109 in basketball years, and Anthony Davis, who does have a history with injuries, but fortunately he's been largely healthy this season. So all things considered, I think that Spencer Dinwiddie is going to be a huge asset for this Lakers team. The fact that they were able to acquire him without giving up anybody at the deadline is huge. They keep the same team they had, and they bring in a guy who patches their biggest hole on offense. There are still some issues on defense that they have to work out, but now they don't have to worry about where the production is going to come from with this second unit. And with that, I'm going to go ahead and close this video out. Thank you all so very much for coming to hang out with me today. As always, everything I'm associated with is down in the description box below. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Subscribe to the channel. Leave a like on this video. If you enjoyed it, comment as well. It really helps out with the algorithm. If you do any of those 3 things, you will become my new favorite person. With that, I'll catch y'all in the next one.